Good evening. Welcome back to Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports, and it's going to be an action-packed Tuesday night. I'm going to be with you for a few minutes, and then Phil Chaplin, he's coming on at 7 to give you in-depth, good fantasy baseball news. And then at 9 tonight, it'll be Chappie and I back here with you to just go round tabling and going around the league, and you don't want to miss that either. So this afternoon, for those of you who are wondering, something I've never seen happen before in the history of Major League Baseball is the schedule has been changed in midseason. So in case you have been under a rock for the past couple of hours, let's catch you up and get you out from under the rock and know what's going on in the baseball world. So, first of all, Miami Marlin games between now and Monday are canceled. That's right. No Marlin games. I told you this morning, more cases have come out with the Miami team. I'm going to read some information to you. I got off of Twitter a few minutes ago, but they don't play again until Monday. So, the Yankees, they're going to be playing the Orioles, not the Phillies. The Orioles tomorrow and Thursday. And so that's another big change. And how many of you guys who were singing the blues because the Yankees weren't playing for fantasy purposes are now like slobbering like crazy because the Yankees are playing the Orioles? And remember, Gleyber Torres loves to play the Orioles. It's like, I don't know, he's playing Nerf ball in the bedroom or something. He's already hit 3 home runs this year. I dare to say he might hit 3 more over the next 2 days in Baltimore. That's just the way Gleyber plays against the Orioles in Camden Yards. And that's where these games are going to take place. So, look, my wish as a Yankee fan is that the Orioles go back to their opening day starter, Tommy Milone. Remember Tommy Milone? And Tommy Milone, the soft-throwing lefty, he faces the Judges, the Stantons. It's going to be a lot of fun in Camden Yards for we Yankee fans, in my opinion, over the next couple of days. And we need some fun because we've been put off and not playing, and now but they've never changed schedules before. This is a first time. This is a postponement. What they're going to do is they're going to reschedule these games. And here's the advantage. And I guess this was thought of made out when the season was made, when they put the teams into Eastern, Central, and Western brackets. Now you can actually do that. So I haven't seen the revised schedule, but due to the fact that the games are postponed, and I did use the word cancellation earlier, and I apologize for that, postponed and changed. So where the Yankees might have been playing the Orioles later, now I guess they'll play the Phillies. And where the Marlins might have been, you see where I'm going. They'll have to fill in, and there's some off days, but they've got it where you're only dealing with the Eastern Division, where teams will play more than one time, and that's what you got going on. I'm watching, as you see me turn my head, the Cleveland Indians lead the White Sox 4-2. The White Sox have a man on second, and Karinchak is pitching a great hard-throwing arm. I said this on this show. I made some predictions. The Cleveland Indians winning the Central. I like the White Sox making the playoffs. And the reason I like the Indians winning the division, as I turn and look at number 99 throwing a pitch, is because of the pitching. I just think you got Minnesota, a playoff team, Chicago, a playoff team, Cleveland, a playoff team. All three, I think, make the playoffs this year, especially with the expanding playoff schedule. So look out. Savali pitched today, looked awesome. He's got a great curveball. And I just think that's the way it's going to wind up. I think those 3 teams will all make the playoffs. So Yankee fans again, I know you're going to get a Thanksgiving buffet over the next week because you're playing the Oriole pitching and the Red Sox pitching. And I guess the question of the day is which pitching staff is better, or should we say, which pitching staff is worse, the Orioles or the Red Sox? I would proffer that one is just as bad as the other. And that's who the Yankees are going to be playing for the next 8 games. Whoa. So, couple of things that I read on Twitter. And so I will give Twitter the credit or the blame. First of all, Mark Feinstein said this afternoon that this was released by Major League Baseball. In over 6,400 tests conducted since last Friday for COVID-19, there have been no new positives of on-field personnel from any of the other 29 clubs. Prior to the Marlins weekend outbreak, 99 out of the 32,640 samples, that's 3%, 0.3%, 1/3 of 1% had been positive. So there is a very minuscule amount of positive tests, 1/3 of 1%, and none since Friday, unless you are a Marlin. So Major League Baseball is giving the Marlins some slack, not letting them play. Now, this was posted on not Facebook. This was posted on Twitter from a guy named R.Y. Jones. R.Y. That's how you spell the first name. Go look it up. Multiple Marlins players visited a nightclub in Atlanta after the Braves exhibition game. And the question is that what started the fallout in the locker room? I don't know. But it's out there. And that's why I think I said this morning, you got to be careful. Look, 20-year-old and 30-year-old guys think they're invincible. I know I used to be that age a couple years ago, and we're not. We're just not. I mean, we can all get sick. We all have to take precautions, and hopefully this will show us how important it is to take the necessary precautions, and hopefully it's a learning curve. Hopefully other major league teams will put rules in effect. So I'm going to go on not a political soapbox, but a philosophical soapbox for a moment. Here you go. Americans in general, we don't like to be told what to do. And we think we can follow and set and make our own rules. But with COVID-19, we don't know the full extent of the enemy we're facing here. And so we need to have some rules in place, and we need to follow those rules. And it's the only way we're going to be able to survive this and get through it. Yeah, we can have baseball. Yeah, we can have sports. Yeah, we can have these activities, but we got to follow the rules. In North Carolina today, our governor has said restaurants cannot serve alcohol after 11 p.m. You know, the initial outcry is, oh, you can't do that. Look, if he doesn't do that, people are going to hang out in restaurants, drink more, get more cozy, and spread this virus. Come on. I mean, I don't agree with everything every political figure says, but let's think beyond the next move. Let's play chess and not checkers for a moment. 3 moves ahead. Alcohol does what? It loosens your inhibitions. And after 11 o'clock, they're extra loosened. So that's the rule in North Carolina now. No one in America likes being told you can't do something. But sometimes we need to be told, because otherwise we make maybe some bad decisions. And I'm not getting political. I'm just trying to look out for our health. If we fully understood the virus, then maybe we would fully understand why we have these rules. Speaking of the virus, Juan Soto, here's some good news. Juan Soto, Washington Nationals, great. has received back-to-back negative tests. And what does that mean? That means he joins the Nationals. That means he can get back with his team, get back on the field. I don't think it's going to take very long for Juan Soto to suit back up and play like Juan Soto. I mean, it's not like Clark Kent changing into Superman. Juan Soto is Superman. He will play well. Let me look at the comments being made. Facebook user, avoid nightclubs. Phil Chaplin, Chappie's on at 7. Chappie, I'm not going to be on very long. I'm just trying to finish up some things from this morning. And of course, Kevin Jones is back in, who says Soto puts the Nats back in the hunt. Well, I don't think they were ever out. Why? Did you see how many times the Braves struck out last night? 19 strikeouts. Now, I know Tampa has some pretty good pitchers, but 19 strikeouts in one game? Of the 27 outs, they didn't make contact on 2/3 of them. Are you kidding me? And I know it's early, and I'm not saying they're not going to hit, but this realignment, this pitching, Tampa's loaded with pitching. The Yankees have good pitching. I think what you're going to see when the feast comes is when teams play the Orioles, when teams play the Red Sox. Miami's pitching pretty good. If I had to rank the worst pitching staffs, the Orioles and Red Sox are right there, 1 and 2. Who's third? Toronto? Is Toronto's pitching staff better or worse than Philadelphia? I mean, close call. I mean, you can say, well, look, if they stay healthy, the Blue Jays can be competitive. And Pearson's pitching tomorrow. And if you don't know Nate Pearson, you need to. The 8th-ranked prospect pitching in all of baseball. I know he's a rookie. I get it. But he's a rookie. He throws 100 miles an hour. And he's going to be starting tomorrow for the Blue Jays. And aren't you going to be tuned in to check out Luke Pearson tomorrow and see what he brings to the table? Because Shoemaker pitched this weekend against Toronto, and he looked really good. And I've said this to you time and time again. The problem with Shoemaker is not his ability. It's been the fact he's been injured. I know 2 years ago in fantasy, he was on in the league I'm in, and when he was healthy, he was as good as anything out there. So if you take a healthy Shoemaker, you take a healthy Luke Pearson, you take a Hyun-Jin Ryu, I'm not saying they're the best staff. I'm just saying they're not the worst. I think they're as good as Philadelphia's, possibly as good as the Mets, save Jake DeGrom, who is probably, in my opinion, the best pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. The Braves pitching staff is good. The Nationals, really good. But it's really simple to see that the Orioles and the Red Sox are the worst, which favors American League East teams doing well. Hello, John Hewitt. How are you? So just keep your eye on when they play each other. And I've already said this one time. I'll say it twice. The reason I like the Nationals in the East is because I think it's a fine line when you try to separate the Braves, the Nats, and the Mets. And what can separate and what can be the fine line is 2 words. In 2020, the fine line in 2020 between the Mets, Nats, and Braves is 2 words. It's called the Baltimore Orioles. Because the Nats play the Orioles more than those other teams because of the rivalry situation. And if we come down to a 1 or 2 game division win, and don't you just know the East can be that way? That's got to favor the Nats. And now Soto's coming back. I just like them. And we'll see. But Soto back. Here's a player. I kind of bring this up just because I think it's fun. You know, we talked about yesterday and today the Astros bullpen and who's going to be the closer. We went through all that. I'm not going to repeat an earlier show. But what did they go and do today? They're going to sign 43-year-old Fernando Rodney from the Sugarland Skeeters, pending a physical. Now, if you think the Astros are desperate for bullpen help, the fact that they are signing Fernando Rodney is proof positive of that fact. I wasn't a big Fernando Rodney fan when Fernando Rodney was good. He's going to walk a ton. He's going to give up big hits. Yeah, don't you like that Sugarland Skeeters? Fernando Rodney of the Sugarland Skeeters. I mean, that just has a sort of ring to it. And I think before too long, he'll be back sooner with the Skeeters and less time with the Astros. How long will that 43-year-old experiment last? I mean, why not bring Goose Gossage back out of retirement? Maybe he would sign a contract with you. How about Eckersley? I know I'm being a little bit off, but I can just tell you, Fernando Rodney is not the answer to the Astros bullpen problem. Hence, I said it before, I'll say it again. The A's will win the West. I have picked the A's consistently. And I'm going to go out and say this. If the Astros make the playoffs, it'll only be because they increase the field to 8 from 4 or from 5. It's those 3 extra spots this year that might get the Astros in. I don't think they make it. Yeah, they can hit, but the Red Sox can hit. That's my comparative. The Red Sox can hit at least as well as the Astros. The Astros have 2 established starters. If you watched the game last night, you saw that James, he's not an answer. I think before long, you're going to see 2 pitchers come up with Houston that could be the answer, that could put them in the playoffs if they put them in positions where these pitchers can thrive and survive and be given a leash because they're young. But the 2 pitchers, and I've seen them play in person, one we know about, one not so much, Forrest Whitley and Christian Javier. If Forrest Whitley and Christian Javier are carved up by Houston and allowed to start, that increases the Astros' chances of making the playoffs and being successful. And I say do it now instead of later. Give these 2 guys the chance and the opportunity to stretch out, to play in big games, be ready for the playoffs. I think in a few weeks you could see good success from either or both of these guys. And with that batting order, that's the way you go out and you make a difference. Now, are there other free agents? Are there other trades? Look, until you have teams who are eliminated this year, it's going to be tough to make a trade. I mean, who doesn't have a chance? Do you think maybe a Michael Givens is an answer in Houston? I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, I can just see Givens look around. I'm pitching in a big game against somebody, but I'm an Oriole. I'm supposed to screw up, or another team. But who have I said? The Giants are bad, but is there a way we could make a trade, Houston and the Giants? The Giants just set up their new closer. And so there's a possibility that that's a trade partner. The Pirates, I don't know if they have anyone. I'm trying to think of teams who won't have a chance. There just aren't that many. Fernando Rodney, former hero of the Sugarland Skeeters. So now with the change of schedule, I saw where Garrett Cole will start tomorrow against Baltimore, and J.A. Happ is likely to start on Thursday. Okay, I got to get on this soapbox. The Yankees have a young pitcher, and you've heard me talk about him. You've heard Phil Chaplin talk about him. His name is Jordan Montgomery. And let me tell you, Jordan Montgomery is a bona fide major league starter. I think he can go deep into games. He throws in the upper 90s. He's a lefty. Every game matters, right? In 2020, every game matters. So proffer you this. Why are the Yankees fooling around with the likes of J.A. Happ against a Baltimore Oriole team that they really have to beat? Because you got to win those games. They play the Orioles 10 times. The Yankees are clearly better on paper any day of the week that ends in Y than the Orioles. And they should win all 10 games. So, Alan Colella, way to go, my buddy Alan. We will find that investment property. The Yankees were 17-2 against the Orioles last year. And if I'm not mistaken, they won the last 17 in a row. Why can't they win 10 more? So you don't take it for granted when you've got an opponent down, go for the jugular. Put Jordan Montgomery against the Orioles to go with that right-hand, left-hand combination. Win those 2 games. I mean, I watched the Yankees over the weekend. They played okay. And I know it's early, but it's early for every team. You can say, yeah, but it's early. Well, I mean, aren't the same rules set up for every team? I think so. So why don't we do that? I don't know. Maybe the Yankees see something in J. Happ that no one else can see. But that's not what I would do. Let me talk about a few stats. These are some things I didn't get to this morning. Pitchers and hitters. And I have to take away some of these. But I want to talk about some fantasy players for tonight. I want to talk about that Homer Bailey matchup against the Cardinals. Look out for the Cardinals tonight. Here you go. Matt Carpenter, lifetime, is 21 for 46 against Homer Bailey. I think that's a pretty substantial sample size. And I think it's a sample size that reeks of success for Matt Carpenter tonight. Paul DeYoung is 6 for 15 with 2 home runs off of Homer Bailey. That's a 400 average, oh, by the way. Dexter Fowler is 9 for 15 with the homer. Jose Molina is 20. This is easy math. This is math that any one of you can get. So I'm going to see who chimes in first. If it's Mike or Kevin or Nicole, do the math. Here are the numbers. Yadi Molina is 20 for 50 against Homer Bailey with 3 home runs. So what's the average? Let's see who gets it first. Pretty easy. 20 for 50. There you go. Kevin Jones wins the prize for today. I don't really have much of a prize. I got an empty water bottle, but I doubt he wants that as a prize. But hitting 400 tells me with 50 at-bats, that's a pretty doggone good sample size, right? Look for the Cardinals to blow Homer Bailey off the field tonight. You heard it first. And how about, real quickly, here's some more numbers for you. The Padres, who I think are off to a tremendous start. Tremendous start. They're playing the Giants, one of the 3 worst teams in Major League Baseball, if not top 4. Jeff Samardzija, who strikes no one out. No one out. Here are some batting stats. Garcia, 4 for 10. Hedges, 3 for 10. Machado, 5 for 19 with 2 homers. And here's a player in fantasy that I want you to keep your eye on because I think he's going to have a really big year in that lineup. And it's Hosmer, the first baseman. He's 9 for 26 lifetime against Samardzija, 364 with a homer. He started off the year hitting really well. And I think he will continue to perform really well this year. Let's keep an eye on that Padre lineup tonight. I really like the Padres. I love the pitching. Look, They got Patino and Gore out in the farm just grazing, just waiting for the call. Meanwhile, you've got studs. Look, their first 3 starts of the year, look what their starting pitchers have done. You want me to tell you? Because you probably don't know if I don't feed it to you, right? So let's get to it. They start the year off with Chris Paddock. And Paddock has opening day, which I think for the Padres was Friday night. I believe I'm right on that. Paddock goes out pitching in the first game of the season. And you know, beginning of the year, we're going to have pitchers who are on pitch counts and that kind of thing. But game 1, Paddock pitches 6 innings, gives up only 4 hits, strikes out 4. Bullpen, hold serve, they beat Arizona. Danielson Lamet goes on Saturday. Lamet looked absolutely lights out against the Diamondbacks. The Padres win on Saturday 5-1. In that game, Lamet goes 5 innings, gives up 5 hits, only 1 earned, 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. And look what the bullpen does. Strom comes in for an inning and a third, zeros. Steinman comes in for an inning and 2/3, zeros. Yates comes out for an inning, 2 strikeouts. Then game 3, when they lose game 3, okay? But I'm looking at starting pitching. Even in that game, the bullpen blew this game for them. The one game they lost in the series. But Garrett Richards, remember Garrett Richards, former Angel great? I'm getting some language here, some texting about Trent Grisham. I understand he is a developing star out on the West Coast. But Garrett Richards goes 5 innings in his start, the only Padre loss, 1 hit, no walks, 6 strikeouts. So you're hearing these innings, 15 innings, and only 2 runs from former Angel star Garrett Richards, current Padre great. The Padres then come back and go win another game yesterday. They go to 3-1. Now, Lucchesi starts yesterday. I don't like Lucchesi, but I told you, Patino and Gore are on the farm. Patino and Gore, now that we're getting close to the call-up date, don't be surprised if Patino, Gore, or both get a call-up to the rotation. And if these guys go into that rotation with the other 3, I will put the Padres, not because of name value, but because of talent value, up against any of the staffs. That's right, including the Dodgers, whose halo rests in Los Angeles. I will put their starting rotation up against anyone. And if you've done your homework, you will too. So tonight for the Padres, well, a Padre freak here. Davies is pitching tonight against Samardzija. I think if you see mediocrity out of Davies and continued mediocrity out of Lucchesi, you're going to see greatness in Patino and Gore. That's my take. Look, guys, I had 30 minutes with you tonight. I'm going to take a little break, get you revved up for Phil Chaplin. I'm going to go grab some dinner. Remember, Chappie's on at 7. And then at 9, the Dynamic Duo returns. Everybody have a great night. I'll be talking to you again around 9 o'clock. Until then, see you from Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports here on the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network.